Hey guys, Mike at Reef Lights. Going to give you a quick tutorial on how to set up the timer on the sBox Elite ramping models. This is the 16-inch model as well as the 30-inch model. Alright, so to program the light, you can use the input screen or panel here on the actual unit, but I find it's easiest to use the remote control. So to start with, you can switch between modes very quickly. We're going to program a moonlight, which is already on. We're going to program a manual mode, which will be different. We're going to program in a sunny mode, which will basically be everything full blast. And then a cloudy mode, which will be just the blues. And as you see, it'll change. Takes a second for the blues to turn off. And we're good. Let me go back to the moonlight so you can actually see what we're doing. And then the final thing we're going to program is going to be the custom mode. And that's your actual ramp. And you can set that ramp at an interval of anything from 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 or 60 minutes between intervals. Our competitors only run either an hour or 30 minutes between intervals, so you end up with kind of a chunky looking ramp where you can notice each 30 minutes when it changes intensity. We can run as low as 10 minutes for a super smooth ramp that you really can't even notice. I tend to set it on a 20-minute interval. I think that that's more than smooth enough, very hard to notice. But at 10 minutes, that's a lot of programming you'll have to do. So it's really your choice where you want to go. But I think the 20-minute is plenty smooth enough. I really can't tell the difference. So I'm going to go through all those. Also on the remote, to navigate through the different screens, you'll use the arrow keys here, up, down, over, and right and left. The enter key is for selecting. The menu key will put you into the program mode. The power button will turn the power off, and then the lights will go out. Then hit it again, power comes back on. And then finally, these three buttons on top that are not labeled, they do absolutely nothing. They're for different functions on different lights, so you can ignore those. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go in and start programming. So I'm going to hit the menu button once, and now I can choose which of my functions I want to program. And so I got a couple different things. Manual mode, I've got custom mode, moonlights, cloudy, and sunny. Before I do any of those, I want to go down all the way to the bottom to settings, and I'm going to hit that. So I hit enter. And now I can either reset, that takes me back to factory reset. That will clear all of your programming out, so make sure it's what you really want to do. But if your unit is acting funny, maybe you had a brownout or a power out where a little surge went into the unit, it's acting a little funny, you can reset, get back to 0, and 9 times out of 10 your unit's good to go after that. Info just lets you know which version of the software you have, so if you call technical support and we want to know that you have the most current version of software, we can certainly check that there. And then the one you're really going to mess with though here is data and time. I'm going to click enter, and now I can change the date. And so I'm going to change this to the 21st because that is what today is. Excuse me. And then I can change the time to whatever it might be. So right now we're going to change it to about 7:30 p.m. and it's military time, by the way. So that's going to be 1933. That's close enough. I'm going to hit the middle button for enter, and I have now set my system time. If I hit the menu button up top, I will now back out one step, and I'm back in my main menu. And so now I'm going to go up through my different settings. So I'm going to set the manual first. I'm going to hit enter, and it's going to show me what it currently looks like. Okay, so that's quite bright. It's on 45% white. It is on 80% blue. I know this is kind of hard to see. Let me get you in closer here. There we go. And then channel 3 is at 100%, which is my moonlights. So if I wanted to change this, and let's say I want to take this to 75%, and I want to take this over to 100% will leave on the moonlights. And now the whites I want to bring down a little bit more too. I'm going to bring them down to 40%. It's that simple to change them. When I'm done, I'm going to hit the center button on the remote, and that saves it and takes me straight back out to the menu. If I now go up, now I'm going to do moonlights. Hit enter, and notice the only one that's on is the actual moonlight. If I hit the over key until the moonlights are flashing, that's channel 3. Now I'm going to take these down to 90%. And now I'm on 90%. I hit enter, and I've now programmed the moon. Let's go to cloudy. Hit enter. And now cloudy, my whites I want off. Let's take the blues down just a hair. So I'm going to bring them down to 90. I'm going to leave the moonlights alone. And hit enter. And now I've saved that one. Sunny, full blast on everything. 100% on everything right now. You know what? I'm going to take the moonlights down 5% just to show you how to change things. I'll put them back later. So now they're at 95%, and I'm going to hit enter. And so that quickly, we've just programmed all the modes except for custom. So now I'm going to go down to custom, and this is my ramp. I'm going to hit enter. And actually, before I do that, let me go back out of the menu all the way and put it back in Moonlight. And that'll just make it so you can see the screen a little easier while I'm navigating. So again, I'm going to hit the menu button up top. I go down and pick custom. I'm going to hit enter. And now I've got two choices here. I can pick the step or the channel. I'm going to pick the step first. This is where you set your timing interval. Notice it's on 60 minutes. I'm going to take it down to 20 minutes. Excuse me. Hit enter. And now I'm set on a 20-minute step for my ramps. Now I'm going to hit custom channel, hit enter. And notice it goes right to midnight. Military time, straight zeros, okay? And right now at midnight, I've got my whites, channel 1 on 0. Channel 2, my blues is 0. And channel 3 is 10% on moons. Well, I don't want moonlights overnight right now, so I'm going to turn them down. Now they're at 0. And now if I go over again, see where it says save, it starts flashing. I hit enter, and we are done. And now the time is flashing again up top where it says 0000. If I hit the up arrow key one time, that's going to take me up my 20-minute interval automatically. Now I can go over and program the rest. Well, guess what? I want zeros for all of these, so I'm just going to leave it alone. I'm going to hit save. Takes me back to my time is flashing. If I hit up again, this is now going to take me to 40 minutes past midnight. Everything's still 0, so we're good. Let's go again. 1 o'clock in the morning, everything's 0. 1:20, everything's 0. 1:40, 2 o'clock. And basically, I'm going to keep going and making sure that everything is zeroed until I get to 8 o'clock, which is when I want to start my lights. So this will just take a second. We're already at 5 o'clock. And 6, 7. And now we're at 8 o'clock. So now I want my moonlights to come on. So I hit the over key twice, 3 times. And now I'm going to turn them on, 1%. And notice, as I'm programming, the lights match. They're going to change as I'm programming so you can really see what you're doing. And I'm going to take this up just to 5%. So for the first 20 minutes, it's going to run 5% moonlights, that's it. Once I hit over and the save is flashing, I hit enter. I've now programmed that interval. If I hit the up arrow key to 8:20, lights turn out again, everything's back to 0. Now I'm going to move over until my channel 3 is flashing again. And now I'm going to take it up to 30%. And once I'm at 30, I will now save. And then I'll go up one again. Now I'm at 8:40. So I'm going to hit over twice. Take this up to 100%. And then once it's there, I'll hit over once and hit save. Now let's go to 9 o'clock. It's been an hour. So I'm going to hit over twice, 3 times, program in my moonlights, take them up to 100%. And now I want to add the blue channel as well because it's been an hour. So I'm looking for kind of a 3-step deal. And once this is 100%, I'm going to use the arrow keys to go back to channel 2. And now I'm going to start changing channel 2. And notice as soon as I hit 1%, the blue lights come on. And as I go up, they go up. So I'm going to take them up to about 25%. Go to the end. When save is flashing, I hit enter. Now the time is flashing again. I hit up, take me to the next interval. And I'll do the same thing again, over twice. And we'll take the blues up to 50% now. And we'll keep the moons at 100%. Now, in terms of how to program this ramp, what's best for your corals, remember it's always best to start low and work up. These lights have a ton more power than you're expecting or used to. And more importantly, the power it's putting out is in the right frequency or spectrum wavelengths for your corals to benefit. So it's heavy in blue, and your eyes are not as sensitive to blue light, so people tend to overexpose their corals and run into bleaching problems. So always start low. If you're too low, your corals will start to brown out a little bit, but you can always turn the light up. If you start out too high and your corals bleach, you could lose them, or at the very least, it's going to take you a couple weeks to bring them back. So I'm going to hit the interval again now. And this time it's 940. Let's say I want my whites to come on. Well, I'm going to do 5% white. And now I'm going to do my blues at 75%. And then I'll do my moonlights at 100% after I get the blues to 75%. And again, so now I just hit it over one more time. I'm on my moonlights. Take those to 100. Now, on the website, www.sbreeflights.com, I have in the FAQ, I have a ramping schedule that you can certainly copy. The intensity level will be based on how deep your tank is. That particular ramping setup was for a single 16-inch unit over a 40 breeder tank, so it's set a little higher than what you will probably use power-wise, so I would take it down a notch or two. But it gives you the general idea of how you can do that ramping so that you have a total of 14 hours of light. But remember, you're starting as low as 5%, not full power. So it's not like running full power for 10 hours because you're ramping up and down. So anyway, that is how you program it. Once you're done with all the steps from start to finish, then you hit menu twice to get out. And then you just simply hit the custom button on the bottom, and it is now in ramping mode, and it's going to follow whatever we've told it to do. So it's important to go through and double check all your intervals, and then as soon as they're all done, you are good to go. So now, if we have, let's say, friends come over and they're looking at the tank, and you say, hey, check out these corals. They really fluoresce under the blue lighting. Well, I hit the cloudy button, and as soon as I hit that, everything changes over to my blues, and the whites will fade out here, and then your friends will say, ooh, ah, look at those nice corals. At the same time, if I want to show them the moonlights, I can hit the moon button, and that's going to take those lights off, and all I'm left with is the moons now, which of course on the SB Reef lights are 420 nanometers. So to your eyes, they look fairly dim. However, that's because your eyes aren't sensitive to that wavelength. There is tons of light still there, and you will see your corals fluoresce in ways you've never seen them fluoresce under normal blue lights. It's actually quite amazing to look at. If I want to go sunny for a moment, maybe I'm seeing it's the middle of the night and I'm looking at the rocks. Looks like there's some pest moving around on the rocks I want to see. I hit sunny, and all of a sudden, bang, super, super bright, and I can see what it is that I was looking at. And then manual mode would just be kind of a middle of the day, normal setting for you. If you want to take it off ramping temporarily, it's not quite as bright. Really, you can set these for whatever you want. And then I'll put it back into custom mode. Now, to turn these on and off, again, just hit the power button, and they are off, okay? If you have turned it off manually, like this, it will not start ramping again the next morning. So make sure that if you want it to ramp, turn it back on, put it into custom mode, and at that point, it will ramp. So that's it. Again, it's Mike at SB Reef Lights. I appreciate you watching the instructions on how to set the sBox Elite ramping lights for both the 16 or the 30-inch. If you have any other questions about our lights, please check out the website. There's a great FAQ section. Also encourage you to go to our Facebook page for SB Reef Lights. And finally, you can reach us directly by sending us an email to sb.reef.lights@gmail.com, or you can send us a message through the website, www.sbreeflights.com. Again, thanks for your time. Have a great day, guys.